I want to ask you about Young Frankenstein, which is easily one of the funniest movies ever made, and you co-wrote this film, and Mel Brooks directed the movie. And I only found out much later on that my favorite scene in the whole movie, and I think for many people their favorite scene, is when Dr. Frankenstein, you do the number, the tap dance number, putting on the Ritz with the monster. And it's so insane and so absurd, and I only realized later on, I guess, that that was your idea, and Mel Brooks didn't want to do it. Is that right?
No, I would write all day, and then he'd come over after dinner and look at, yeah. Okay, now, we need a villain. The Burgermeister isn't a good enough villain. We need a real villain, and so on. And one night he came over, and he looks at the pages, and he says, "You tap dance to Irving Berlin?"
Right.
"In Top Hat and Tails with the monster?"
Right.
He said, "Are you crazy? It's frivolous."
Right.
And I started to argue, and then I argued for about 20 minutes till I was at least red in the face. I think it may have been blue. And all of a sudden, he says, "Okay, it's in." And I said, "Well, why did you put me through this?"
Right.
He said, "Because I wasn't sure if it was right or not. And if you didn't argue for it, I knew it would be wrung. But if you really argued, I knew it was right."
That's actually an interesting technique.
Well,
so if you hadn't, if you had just been like, oh, okay, whatever, maybe it is a stupid idea.
But I knew him well, and that is the only argument that we've ever had.
Yeah. Well, and I think also it was one of the earliest movies I saw that was a comedy where the acting was so straight and so sincere. Do you know what I mean? You're believing in everything 1,000%, and that's what makes it so funny.
18 years of study.
Right.
In order to learn, finally, that the more real you can make a comedy, the funnier it's going to be. Instead of making faces and doing funny sounds and all of that.
Right. It's why I've been barred from the movies, I think, for the most part.